All right, we're on. This is Yana, Eleni, and Ariana doing our Hangouts collaboration. So who would like to start talking about Class Dojo?
I can start. I have to say that on the first impression was that it's very like a good-looking design. It's very friendly and like an attractive design. I really like the little monsters, and overall it was just very easy to set it up and start using it, adding names, very straightforward. That's my first impression.
Yeah, I've known this app for a while because I used it more before as a behavior management tool, but I haven't used it like the last couple of years, and I realized that it's changed a lot. Now it's more like communication app, and they also advertise themselves as the best classroom communication app. So they added more features like messages to parents and co-teaching, and all those student-led portfolios and class stories. So now it's getting more interactive and more, I would say, student-centered. So I actually like these features because they make it more, I would say, universal, and it's have more variation of how you can apply it into your classroom.
Great.
It was new for me. I had never seen it before. It was really interesting to see, and I agree with Eleni that it was very easy to set up. I got an account set up in less than 2 minutes, and I think it was simpler and more intuitive even than Google Classroom. And I also really like the feature that you can share with parents and that children can use it, and it all seemed very intuitive for any kind of user, even someone who's not real into technology. It's something that can be used pretty simply.
Yeah, I like the fact that the kids can edit their own little animals or monsters, or they can put a picture, so there's a lot of collaboration in that sense. I also found that the reports, like at the end of the week, and you can track the good and the bad behaviors, is also was also a very useful feature. And I think like for attendance, the fact that it allows you to add your own behaviors, whether they're positive or negative, like your rewards and consequences. So you're not just limited to the list they give you. I also thought that was really good. And like you said, Ariana, I really enjoyed the thing where you can connect with the parents, like the invitation, and they can connect through you. And I think it streamlines communication with parents, especially for those that travel a lot, in particular in your schools that you guys are internationally, that I'm sure a lot of parent travel. It's a good way to keep them in the loop.
Yeah, maybe at this point, because you also listed all the advantages I pointed out as well, but I had slightly just tried to find some of the disadvantages of this application. And what I found, because they added these new features of messaging parents, and in my current school we're using Rediker, so that's like a similar kind of style, just more official tool where you also take the attendance, and you have your grade book, so you send the parents messages. So for me, this system looks more official, although the Class Dojo, it's more interactive and kids friendly, but I feel like communicating with parents would be not that formal. And I'm not sure also whether we can save all these messages, because I would like to have this thread as a proof, if I mean, just to have something as a backup. So I would definitely myself would continue using it as a classroom management tool, and also maybe portfolio and class story tool. So it's something we can use within the class. But as for the official records like attendance or communication, I would kind of be a little bit scared of using that, because maybe if it's official on the school level, if the whole school is following that, then yes. But if it's just only within my class, it might be a little bit awkward.
I think you're right. And I was also thinking that in terms of the attendance, yes, if the whole school is not wired to that, then you would be working double because you would have to take attendance however way the school asks you to do it, and then this way. So I think it works best if everyone in the school is using the same platform. Also, on the side of the disadvantages, I obviously, because I was not using it live or communicating with parents, but I think in the reports it provides a ranking so parents can actually see all students. Like if your child is, I don't know, the first that, misbehaving because he talks too much or things like that, other parents can see that, which I don't think that is something that, if it were my kid and my kid talks a lot, and it's a great kid and has a lot of energy, but it's constantly being, punished negatively because of that. And then other parents can see that. I don't know how much, I would like that. So I don't know if the reports are comprehensive enough or have enough skills, ability to change that, and that like only show this child, or it always does aggregate. So I think that's something that I think I would have a problem with as well. And what you say about being formal and saving the conversations, I agree. I'm not too sure on that. And what else did I see as a negative thing? And then I also thought, I'm not in a class right now. You guys are teachers and you have more experience with this. But I was thinking that it could be a little bit distracting for a teacher also to be focusing all the time on like, what's the good interaction? What's the negative interaction? And logging it in, almost like losing touch of everything else that's happening and really just trying to, to focus on those behaviors. So I think maybe for younger kids, it makes sense because it's also, motivating for them. But with older kids, I don't know if as a teacher, you're going to lose focus because you're just focusing on trying to track those behaviors. I don't know. That's just something that occurred to me.
I had almost the exact same things in my notes here. It says, a little on the young side for some older students for the reasons you listed, and as well as the themes overall. It's kind of for younger students, but then I also wonder with younger students, is something that is so screen focused such a great thing? When they're little, I feel like more things that are tactile, more things that are live and real can be better for that age. And then, like you said, concentration issues for the teacher and also for the students if they're always focused on this reward system. Is that going to become a distraction of their learning if they're constantly saying, oh, did I get points for that? Or, oh, did I lose points for that? And also, does it focus students so much on rewards rather than just the behavior itself? We are, exhibiting good behavior for the sake of that, not so much for the sake of getting points. And then I was also thinking, hey, there's yet another thing on a screen, and we have so many things on screens, which are it's good. It's good to have. I like the technology aspect, but there's a lot of technology these days, so something to think about.
Yeah, and overall, with all of these tools, I just think they're obviously geared towards the school that is wired to do that. I'm thinking like back in the day, we didn't even have a projector, so these are all tools that for schools that have a high baseline with technology in itself. So they're not accessible to everyone. And I'm thinking with the school that I work with in the Bronx here in New York City, it's a school where like all the population is living in the under the poverty line. I don't know how engaged the parents would be also in this software that tracks kids when they're barely even present in the kids academic life. So I think it requires also a certain baseline, but that's just true for all technology stuff.
So if we're kind of summarizing our overall sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just about to say this.
No, go for it.
Yeah, it's just one thing from my personal experience. The biggest challenge I found with this program, because as long as the class has this one-on-one iPads or a teacher has an iPad, this thing works really well because you can move around the classroom. You're not only always, just have to stand next to the computer to get these points and things. So you're still like flexible, you move around, then it's gonna work. But guess what I did in class? So I introduced the class dojo, but the only thing we have is the one PC in front of the class, and that was a hassle for me coming back and forth. And sometimes I would forget, or you have to have a paper with you to write it down. So it's like extra work for a teacher. So yeah, as Eleni said, as long as the school is all connected, then there's really a way to implement all these new technology things.
So as kind of a summation, we all think that it can be a really good tool, maybe for middle elementary grades, in some contexts, but it has some limitations as far as technology access and distractions for the teacher and the student. So it has its uses, but maybe in very specific contexts. Does that sound about right?
And it also not that formal comparing to other grade books, let's say Rediker and other formal grade books the school is currently using. So it's less formal and probably might be a better tool for classroom management behavior.
Anything to add, Eleni, or does that pretty much sum it up?
No, I think that sums it up.
Great. All right, who wants to go first with their other app?
I can do, so I reviewed Too Noisy app, and so I did the free version, which means really that, so it's an app that measures the level of noise in the classroom. I found that it's really geared more towards younger children, because what's attractive about the app is the design. So you have kind of like a thermometer, and depending on the noise level, there's a happy face, and if it's between the range as accepted, then the happy face is happy. And then if it starts to get a little bit loud, it changes, more to like, uncomfortable. And then if you're way out of range, then it goes like this to like, go like this, not to hear. So this is an app to help teachers manage noise levels in the classroom, and to try to help kids understand, what's acceptable, and if they're getting too loud, then they have to bring that face to to the range that they want. So it's very simple, really, and you are able to graduate it in a way for you to be the one that decides how much loud is loud. Like it's not predetermined. You can put the thresholds higher or lower depending on what you want. And if you upgrade to the paid version, the only difference that I saw is that you can change the backgrounds on the little happy face. So not really any additional features, but just like you could put a farm in the background and like a different happy face. So it's really more about graphics than anything else. I honestly don't know how useful this is. I'm thinking if it's younger kids, maybe, the idea of having that, it will help them regulate their sound levels, but I don't know. Then the kids would be focused in that and not doing their own thing. And if they're making noise and excited about an activity, are they really going to turn around and look at the screen? I don't know. I don't know if it's an app that I would find that useful. But again, I'm not, teaching younger grades yet, so I'm not sure. And it's just like one more thing to do. So I don't know. That was my impression about the Too Noisy app.
I worked with a kindergarten teacher who used it for centers. And during center time, because the kids were just getting really, really loud. So she used it, and it worked pretty well. Like you said, it's a little thing. It didn't make a huge difference, but they did think about it. And at first it was very distracting, like you said, but once they got used to it, it kind of did work. And if they got through center time without breaking it, then they would get a little fuzzball in a jar, and they filled the jar, and they got some kind of little treat. So it, again, like you said, another little thing, nothing huge, but they found it fun.
Yeah.
I read some reviews on this app, and many teachers recommend it for special ed kids, like classes, for the kids who cannot really control their volume level. I think for those cases, it could be extremely like helpful. And I used similar one in my class, but it didn't really work because kids would intentionally, try to make this thing explode, or the birds fly away, or so they found it too much fun. So I had to stop that at some point. Probably it's good for like KG, pre-K, and first